No bombing.
There's no bombing. All right, get inside. Come to the manga.
Just how bad was it to live in a tunnel? Well, I journaled every day of my time there, and today I'm gonna read, word for word, a day of that experience. Now for context, we have only been in this tunnel base for about a week now. We are still preparing it and getting it ready to be livable. I woke up refreshed and ready to do work. We ended up catching 3 mice on the sticky traps. So weird how I just learned how to catch mice and rats at my buddy's a couple months ago in California. Bajo said he saw a rat go up the wall in the main room earlier today. Without eating, because we didn't even have food yet, he assigned me and my buddy Bawar to clean the kitchen and Shervan and Shresh to the banyo, which is the bathroom. They got so lucky. The kitchen was horrifically dirty, and the entire time we cleaned, Bawar and I would walk out and almost puke, and he would repeat that he would never eat anything that was cooked in here. We finished cleaning, so I told him, hey, the quicker we get all this done, the faster we can eat. So we took initiative and we took the trash out of the entrance. We came back and found our team leader Suresh inside the kitchen and told us to clean better, which was a very Suresh thing to do. So we found some months-old half-full containers of soap and bleach covered in rocks and dirt, and we brought them to the kitchen, and I just dumped it everywhere. We cleaned, but I'm not sure it did much. At this point, I was familiar with most of the cave. It was significantly smaller than what I'm used to. When done, we went down to a bush at the bottom of our cliff, and we grabbed food and we brought it up. After a couple trips, we ate at the top of our cave entrance. I had half a can of mortadella, which is canned chicken, not heated, an orange slice, and a whole piece of naan. I'm not picky. I'm not worried of death. I'm just taking it day by day. The ultimate of being content with your situation and anything that life throws at you. After the breakfast, lunch, it was kind of the same. The sun was heavy, but we wanted to see our base. So we walked on top of it and we kind of explored a little bit. We explored the cave as well and got used to it. And then Bajos, our commander, showed us the fighting positions that we would be fighting from. The only impressive one was the Bixie one, which is the PKM. And even that was sad. It's basically a hole in the ground for each fighting position. And most of them don't even cover your head. You have to crawl down to do that. For the PKM one, the first one that he showed to us, he explained this is where the PKM goes and how well it can fire at this open field on top of the mountain. He said that this was the most likely place for an enemy to land helicopters or conduct an assault from, were the mountains right ahead of us, the open field and then the mountains behind, about 600 meters out. And a matter of fact, just a couple months prior, they did land on it, probably just to test it, if it would be a good place for landing. The problem with this hole was it was very crude like the rest of them. You'd probably be slipping on rocks and dirt the entire time you fire. Plus each fighting hole had a giant visible cord of det cord. Bajos explained what this is for. If we get overran, instead of being taken prisoner, the camera on top of our base, we had a camera on top where we could see everything that was happening above us, which showed the commander inside the big base, and they'd detonate it and kill all of the invaders and ourselves so that we wouldn't be taken prisoner and that everybody else would be eliminated. So it's basically just about 4 or 5 of us against an entire wave of enemies of unknown origin. Yeah, it was suicide. So then we went on top of a hill and he showed us some of the stone bunkers for fighting in if we want. And a massive 2 meter by 2 meter rock pile right on top of our tunnel base, which he said was a giant IED. While up here, Bajo showed us the other bases and where they are and how ours fits into the terrain and the whole grand scheme of things. Basically, our hill mountain is the most strategic hill to be taken. It overlooks at a height advantage the main base in our area and all of the tunnels leading into it and the road. Plus, it overlooks pretty much all of the Sinjar mountain range. It's a beautiful view. You could even see Rojava from here, which is Syria. But my thought was still there. It's a suicide base. We're gonna be the first ones attacked. It's packed full of mines and IEDs, which they say we aren't allowed to know where they are, but we did find a couple, and they're everywhere around our base. They're in every single fighting position. They're on top of our base. They're all around that mountain. They're just gonna blow up. Yeah. We're pretty much a decoy at this point. We knew that we were gonna be overran. They knew. But we wanted to attract attention and make it so that they come to our mountain. Does that make sense? We were meant to show that there's resistance there, so they should push hard with a lot of troops because it's strategic when in reality, there's only 5 of us internationals here. And it's also great propaganda if we die there, just like in the YPG. It's good press. Bajos joked that he would be like that Russian Special Operations Forces guy who got overran, so he called in all the fire on his position to kill all of them with him. This was back in 2021, before the full-scale invasion. Bawar looked completely broken when he found out that he would be laying on det cord until they blew him up on the PKM this whole time. So Bajos followed up by saying, we'll use the camera pole to stake up the dead soldiers. So yeah, this is soldier humor. This is my journal. What can I say? Later, I would ask Bawar if he thinks that he would lay waste for as long as possible with tons of ammunition and then retreat before they blow it. but he said that Bajos isn't the type to retreat, which he definitely wasn't. I told him the truth, which is that I'm indifferent to either situation. It would be cool to die giving our all and just end it with a giant explosion where we instantly die. But I was mostly asking Bajos the possibility of retreat to go and comfort Bawar, because he was the PKM gunner. He was gonna be going out loud and proud. Next, we visited the old houses down half the cliff face, which were bombed. Bajos would frequently drink chai down that pile of rubble. He said the reason it was bombed was how obvious it was, that it was a tunnel with giant rocks left over from digging right outside. We slid down the 20 meters of rocks, which was almost uncontrollably fast, which led us to the food that was dropped off to us by the truck, so we brought the rest of it up after a couple trips. We hiked and laughed the whole time, and sometimes didn't say anything because of how hard the work was up and down this mountain, even just bringing food and water up. Next, we got to the generator, and we tried moving it with sticks and a shovel, but the shovel with its thick handle snapped in half when me and Bawar were moving it. This was a giant diesel generator. It was probably like 200 kilos. So we decided to roll it down the hill next to a rock and then camouflage it, which is probably the reason it didn't really work after that. We got more sticks, and then I got the idea with the spare 550 cord that I had, which I was using to put up the electrical cords in the tunnel, to go and wrap it underneath the generator so that way we could carry it better. So I cut the wires accordingly with my super nice Leatherman. I said super nice there, it broke. And they were happy I brought the 550 cord so that way we didn't have to make another trip up the mountain. We rolled down, almost crushing our feet and our hands, but got in place correctly after about 20 minutes. Next was camo. So we got barrels and bricks and put them near it. I put the blue barrel in front of where the Turks would attack probably, and the red barrel behind us. We put the bricks up and then put a giant tarp, which I'd found in the rubble, on top of the generator to protect it from the rain. On top of that, we put rocks on top of the cover, and then we shoveled up grass and we put it on top of it to kind of disguise it from the drones. Although the drones could see the thermal, they wouldn't see the generator for now, which gives us a little bit more disguise for the time being. For dinner, I ate canned tuna and 4 orange slices and a piece of naan and some ramen. It was super tasty, there's a lot of calories, definitely needed it. And I was using my knife as a utensil, which worked okay. For the evening training, Bajos explained the radio and how it works and all the numbers that we hear all the time. They would say Sezda, which means 13. And 13 has a specific code number for whatever the situation is in the sky. Is there a drone above us? Is there a jet? Is there an attack? There's a number for each of those, and they change every month. And then he taught us how to talk to the radio operator to get a situation report if we have guests coming from outside, and we want to make sure that there's no drones while they're walking. At nighttime, usually half the night, a drone is passing over. And then in the late evening, we watch the sunset. And there's so much more I wish I could write down, like how I gave them all meds, which was paracetamol for the guys who were aching for the last week of work, as well as a multivitamin. So all of them, including Bajos, trusted me immensely with the medical stuff. And from my experience in the YPG, where some guys were abusing some of the drugs, I made sure to mark down all of the extreme painkillers that we had, kind of the opiate stuff. That way, we knew that nobody was going to abuse it or steal it. Other than that, there was tons and tons of spiders. For some reason, higher elevation just likes spiders. I guess just like in Colorado. I was in Colorado doing a hiking trip, and yeah, a lot of spiders. The mountain was covered with them. The food chain goes like this. There's crickets, spiders, mice and rats, foxes, kurds, and the enemy. Also, I taught them a way to close the steel door, the blast door, for the main room from the outside, which came in handy. Anyway, yeah, I've got 28 minutes left of guard duty. It's about 4 hours long. This journal keeps me sane. The problem with sanity is it keeps you anxious. The alternative is the way I'm living my life now. I try and talk to God, but it's hard. Someone pray harder for me. That's what I'll do until sleep. Right before I woke up Bajos for his guard duty, an explosion rang out. I ran to Bajos and I woke him up, told him, and then he said it's probably just the Arabs working on our retreat tunnel, which we were going to be using, but they were finishing up some work there, and that was probably what the explosion was. But for those 5 minutes where we didn't know what it was, what did I think? What did I think it was? What was in my mind? You know, you hear about the times that, oh, there's an explosion and it's an attack. But you still get that same feeling as a soldier. When you hear an explosion, you think it's happening. So that's just kind of the continuation, day by day in the tunnels. You would live in these conditions where you constantly think you're under attack because you hear a bunch of drones and you're like, this is it. You know, and yeah, it's a huge wave of emotions, and it goes from you're gonna die to everything's calm. It's very insane. And that's all I want to say today. You know, that's a journal entry. I've got one for each day that I was there. Can you believe it? And I just want to share one of the stories. I think I've shown a lot of my time in Iraq to you guys. I've spoken about it a lot, but to actually break it down to an actual day that I've written from 4 years ago, I think that's unique. And I hope you guys got something from it. If you guys enjoy it, let me know. Definitely share some more. Got a lot more. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.